Hi, my name is Shelby Courtney, and this is my case study presentation for ED 311. My case study's name, her name is Destiny. She's 9 years old, and she's in the 4th grade. She's very, very sweet. Her smile brightens up the room, and she lives with both her mother and her father, and she's an only child. Her strengths and interests. Put little pictures on there. Her favorite movie is Frozen. I hear it nonstop all day. She's always talking about Frozen. And she always checks out books from the library, even though they're not on her AR level. We always get on to her about that, but she always picks books about Frozen. And she loves technology. She has a tablet. She loves getting on the computers. She likes playing on the smart board. And she always wants to be on her tablet. And then she thrives in geometry, anything to do with shapes. She's really, really good at. And symmetry. Alrighty, she has some academic and behavioral challenges. She is in the developmentally delayed category, and she has some speech problems. So she struggles with literacy the most. She reads at a 1st grade level according to her IEP, and she cannot write on her own. She can copy down stuff, but she can't bring the stuff out of her own head. And she has a speech impediment, so she was attending speech classes, and they weren't doing anything, so they just stopped sending her. So she was not improving, so they stopped sending her to speech. With behavioral, she doesn't really have any behavior problems. She just has problems with sitting down and doing her work and staying on task. She's constantly out of her seat. If another student goes to the bathroom, she can go to the bathroom. If somebody else is looking at something, she has to get up and look at it. She's always walking around. She always moves her desks around. So she's always just fidgety. She doesn't really have behavioral, but she is very spacey and can't stay on task. Is always getting up. During my observation, I just observed her during the class times and during lunch. So during math, language arts, and lunch. And the only thing I really noticed, she would do her work, but it'd take her about twice as long as everybody else, and she gets general grades, so they don't really do a lot for her while she's in the general ed classroom, so she just kind of sits there and does it. And whenever, I try and help as much as I can, but they don't really know exactly how to do it. They usually go to the resource room to complete work half the time. So whenever she's actually in the classroom, she's not really doing anything. So she gets kind of bored, so that's probably why she walks around a lot. So she's constantly out of her seat, and she'll just start talking. And she'll move her desk back and forth and look at what the other kids are doing. But during lunch, she stayed in her seat the whole time, didn't talk, just ate, and then moved when she was told and got in line. So I don't know if it's just when she does academics, she's kind of bored, probably, so she just kind of sits there and gets fidgety, or what it is, but. And then whenever she did anything, her teacher would just be like, sit down, Destiny, stop doing that, Destiny. She wouldn't give her anything to do. And, social strengths and or challenges. She's very, very sweet and friendly, and she just wants to be everybody's friend. She's so sweet. But since she is in special needs classes, and there's another girl who has the same thing as her, so she usually hangs out with her, but everybody else thinks she's kind of weird, so she's not like everybody else, so she's socially isolated. And she's always either with the other SPED student or by herself during PE and lunch and during class. Nobody ever wants to, even the other SPED girl doesn't ever want to partner with her. Not really sure why. And when I completed my sociogram, nobody drew their lines to her, circled her or anything. And only one student, one did, because she'd put her and the other SPED student as one she wanted to be friends with, because she's super, super sweet. So whenever I got the chance to put them in groups, I'd try and put them with her, and I always gave her somebody I knew that would try and help her out and work with her. During my teaching, so my effective interventions, when I was teaching, during my whole week of teaching, I used different accommodations for Destiny. Whenever they did writing, I'd have her more orally tell me her, even though she has a speech problem and a writing problem, so it's really difficult to do any literacy, I tried to get her to orally tell me her answers, or just kind of go one-on-one, more than just kind of like a whole group, because she's really difficult to understand a lot too, so I'd have to sit there and focus on what she was doing. And if it was something else, when we did science, we did like a bunch of research, I paired her with two of my higher students so they could help her with all of her stuff, and there's the more tolerable, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, tolerable of the classes, so they won't get too impatient with her. So I paired her with a peer model. And it was really effective, because usually, as I was saying before, my teacher just kind of have her sit there. She tries to pair with other people, but she doesn't really get a lot out of it, and whatever, especially when they're doing writing, she doesn't even ask her like what she's doing or anything. So when I actually worked with her, she actually would complete her work because she was getting feedback and getting more of the one-on-one, which she gets in the resource room. She doesn't usually get it in the whole group, because they have like 23 kids in there, so it's difficult to do, I understand, but she actually was getting feedback and able to improve on what she was doing. And to pick from one of the threes that we did, I used positive behavior support, which goes back to the one-on-one. Whenever she would actually complete her work, I would praise her and give her feedback and everything, like I said. But usually, whenever she completed her work, her teacher would go tell her to sit down, and she gets a general grade, so she doesn't even look at what she did, and she just kind of brushes it off. But when we were doing writing, they had to write questions, because they were going to interview each other, and every time she wrote down at least 3 questions, I'd praise her, give her a high five, and she'd want to keep going and do more, because she saw that how proud I was of her and everything. So that's what I tried to do most of the time with her. The most important thing I learned from Destiny is patience, because, well, with all of my special needs kids, but with her especially, because you can't understand her a lot, so you had to sit there and have her repeat stuff to you. She, always takes a long amount of time to complete her work, so it taught me to not blow up, because I'm not really like that, but just like know that the more impatient I got, the worse it got. So I had to learn to be very, very patient. And I know she's struggling, so I had to help her. And it taught me how to be more patient with kids. And that's it. Thank you.